Hey everyone, and welcome to this video. I'm Inxlaura123. This is going to be my May reading wrap-up video. So in this video I'm going to be telling you about the books that I read in the month of May, telling you a bit about each book and my views and opinions on them, and of course giving you my ratings out of 5 for each book that I mention. So yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy watching. If you do, please click like, comment, share and subscribe to my channel. That would be awesome. And don't forget to smash the notification bell to all notifications. Then you can see when I've uploaded new videos and I'm doing live streams. So I've got my phone here with me Goodreads on. Oh, if you're on Goodreads, come and follow me. The link is down below. So yeah, that'd be awesome. I love making new bookish friends. Also down below the links to all my social media. So come and follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, etc, etc. Okie dokie. So I'm really sad to say this, but May was not a good reading month for me. Like, there was just so many books that I either DNF'd or I just didn't really enjoy that much. I mean, there were a few books that I did enjoy, a couple that I actually loved, but in general it just wasn't a good month for me, which makes me really sad because reading is my thing. It's my hobby, and whenever I'm like having to talk about a month where I didn't really enjoy the books, I don't know, it's just kind of disappointing. But anyhow, we move on. So the first book that I read in the month of May was Death of a Bookseller, and it's by Alice Slater. So I didn't actually have that cover. That must be the American cover. I didn't have that cover. I really had high hopes for this book because I absolutely love books about books. So whether it's about bookworms, bookshops, libraries, that kind of thing, like, it's just my thing. I like it. But this one was just, I don't know, it started off quite good. I was enjoying it at first, and then it got a bit weird and a bit too dark and a bit too graphic, and I don't know, like, it was supposed to be like a comedy thriller, which I kind of get where they're coming from. Aspects of it were quite funny if you're into that kind of dark humour, but I don't know, it's something. I didn't like the main character, who was a Roach. She was weird, like really weird. At first, I kind of had this, like, a little bit of sympathy for her. And then the more I read about it, I was like, oh, actually, you're just really weird. But but the good thing is there was a character called Laura in it. So that's a good name. But yeah, it's about this girl called Roach who's very much into, like, true crime. Well, I say into, obsessed with all things true crime. And yeah, she works at a bookshop. She's not very popular. She hasn't got any friends. She doesn't really do much in her life apart from obsess over true crime and stuff. And then this other girl starts working at the shop called Laura, and she kind of gets this obsession with her, and it's all a bit weird, like Fatal Attraction kind of vibes in a bookshop, I suppose. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it was all right. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it, and it definitely wasn't what I expected. So I give it 3.5 stars. I couldn't really give it any more or any less. It was readable. It was all right, but bit graphic at times. And also, one quick thing, I didn't like the way that Roach would let men treat her in a kind of romantic way. I don't know. I kind of think she put herself down so much that she kind of just put up with anything, and I didn't really like that. But anyway, I don't know. It was all right, I suppose. A Lesson in Vengeance by Victoria Lee was the next book I read. Do you know what? I can't really remember much about that book. I think it was like, I know they're at this private school. It was witchcraft, very kind of like dark academia kind of things. These girls, that was it. These girls had gone missing years ago, and it was all to do with like doing a Ouija board and connecting to dark spirits. And like, on paper it sounds my cup of tea, but in the flesh I just found it really boring. I ended up just kind of skim reading it just to see what happened, but I just, I give it a 3 stars. It was all right, but I have read so many similar books that have been a lot better. So yeah. All right, next up I read The Ballad of Never After. Really disappointed with this one because I absolutely loved the first one, which was Once Upon a Broken Heart. This is the sequel to it. I love Stephanie Garber books. I really enjoyed the Caravel series, and I really love the first one in this series. But this, I just found it lacked something. It didn't have as much magic. It didn't feel as fun and romantic, and I don't know, it's very predictable as well. I just wasn't feeling it at all. So I did end up kind of skim reading it, as I say, and just kind of finding out what happens. I won't be continuing with the series. I give it a 3 stars, and that's been quite generous actually. But yeah, I won't be continuing with the series because I just don't really care. Like, I do like Jack. Jack is one of the main characters, Prince of Hearts. I did like his character, but it wasn't enough to keep me, carrying on the series. So I'm afraid the series is going to stop for there from me. The next book I read I did enjoy, which is good. It was a YA thriller called Every Word a Lie by Sue Warman. I really love the cover as well. I thought that was really, really cool. Like the whole keyboard with like the blood and the lipstick and like really, really cool. I actually wrote a comment on here. Look, this was very exciting, twisty book. Well wrote YA thriller. I read it in 2 days. It's true, I did. It was so addictive, hard to put down, really good characters, really shocked by the ending, brilliant. Yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I really, really enjoyed it. And I love Sue Warman books. I've read quite a few books from her. And if you're into your YA thrillers, honestly, check out Sue Warman. She's done quite a few and they're really good. And what I really love about her books especially is the characters. Like, you really get to know the characters and kind of get in their heads, and it's just, I don't know, she's a really good author. I really like her. So this one is two friends, Amy and Stan, plan revenge on their prankster friend Holly by catfishing her as her crush. They only mean to do it for a day or two, but then Holly ends up dead as the catfish continues to strike others. So it's one of these kind of YA thrillers with social media elements, which I don't know why, I just really enjoy those. I get really into them. But yeah, it was really good. And without giving any spoilers away, there was a really good twist at the end. I was like, what? But it was really good. I like that. And I give it, I give it 5 stars. Very good. Okay, so next book. Oh no, another book, a bit like the Stephanie Garber book. I was so excited for this. Actually, probably more for this one than the other one. But this is Twin Crowns 2, which is Cursed Crowns. And I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous cover. Like, I love the cover. I love the first book's cover, and I love this one. But it's about 2 twins. The first one, they were both kind of raised separately, and one was a queen and treated really well. One wasn't particularly treated very well. Anyway, so they're both in the last book. Actually, I shouldn't give spoilers. Sorry. Anyway, something happened in the last book. How can I word this? Well, they were reunited, there we go, in the first book. And so I got to this book and thought, oh, you know, we're going to see more kind of the interaction between the 2 twins and getting to, like, know each other. But what did they do with this book? They blooming separated them again. You know, one goes on this journey, one goes on this epic adventure, and they're both separated, which to me was really annoying because I wanted to see that bond forming and how they'd react to each other or get through problems. But no, they were just separated for most of the book. So I was really unhappy with that book, and I only give it 1 star, mainly for that reason. So yeah, another series that I won't be continuing on with. I can't believe it though. Honestly, Twin Crowns was one of my books of the year when it came out, which I assume was last year. I loved it. I could not wait for number 2, and I was just hugely disappointed. Sad, isn't it? All right, the next book I read, though, I wasn't disappointed in. In actual fact, this book was far better than I ever thought it would be. So it's called Somewhere in the Crowd by Katrina Logan. And this book was a Eurovision-themed book. Now, ever since I was a kid, I have been completely obsessed with anything Eurovision Song Contest involved. I just love it. I love it. I watch it every year. I'm obsessed with it. So when I found out there was a fiction book based on the Eurovision, I was like, wow, this is so cool. I don't think I've ever heard of a book, like a story based on the Eurovision. So that was quite, you know, original. And I assume the person who's wrote this, Katrina Logan, must be a Euro fan. She's got to be. There was too much information and history and, you know, little things that if you weren't a Eurovision fan, you wouldn't know. So I'm hoping she's a fellow fan. But yeah, I loved it. 4 people, 12 years, 1 Eurovision. So, yeah, I give it 5 stars. I absolutely adored it. And yeah, basically there's these 4 friends, and over 12 years, every year they meet at the Eurovision final. But then obviously, you know, in their lives separately, different things happen over the years. And it's just this story of, it's not just romance. Obviously there's a bit of romance in it, but it's also friendship, family. Like, there's just so much in this book that I honestly thought it was going to be a bit, I don't know, I thought it was going to be a bit cringy before I read it, and I also thought it was just going to be romance based, but no, it was actually more than that. It was, as I just said, friendship, you know, family, romance, dealing with lots of different issues, and loads of Eurovision, obviously, loads of Eurovision references, and I literally felt like so happy when I read this book. I didn't want it to end. I was like, no, I'm on the last chapter. But yeah, really, really loved that book. I mean, you could read it any time of year, but I did have it that I read it that week of the Eurovision because I was fully in the zone. So I think I enjoyed it even more, but you could read it anytime. Like, it's just brilliant. So yeah, 5 stars to Somewhere in the Crowd by Katrina Logan. The next book I'd completely DNF'd. I don't even think I rated it, which is really rare. I normally give them 1 star. I couldn't even give this. It was so horrid. It was awful. So this was a graphic novel that I'd bought. I'd got it on Waterstone's website about, I don't know, 5-6 months ago. I saw about it on a girl I follow on Instagram's page. And I thought, oh, like graphic novels. I like true crime. You know, like the artwork looked pretty fun and cool. I was like, okay, I'm going to get this. Oh my God, it was terrible. So it's Murder Book, a graphic memoir of a true crime obsession by Hilary Fitzgerald Campbell. It was so bad. What I will say positive, I suppose, the artwork was good. Like I did enjoy like the aesthetic of the artwork and stuff, but it was so horrible. And it was kind of, I don't know, glamorizing murderers. Like, I know a lot of people, including myself at times, are into true crime mysteries and all that. And there is something, you know, fascinating about reading stuff and, you know, how it makes you feel. And, you know, there is something true crime, and especially with women. And I know that's sexist to say that, but it is a proven fact that a lot of women love the true crime. Okay. But I found that this character in the book was, it was kind of like she was excusing the serial killers, and she was kind of like, instead of having sympathy for the victims, it was kind of like understanding the serial killer and kind of glamorizing them, as I say, and it just didn't feel right. It didn't sit comfortably with me reading this, so I had to stop. And when I looked at other people's reviews on Goodreads, oh my God, like obviously some of the people absolutely loved it and said it was the best thing ever. But a lot of the people said, look, for this, I've just randomly gone on this one. Someone called Dave has said, I got increasingly uncomfortable the more I read. Yeah, exactly. And that's how it made me feel. It was just, I don't know, I don't really want to spend much more time talking about it, to be fair. See, I didn't even give it a rating. I didn't even get a 1 star. It was just awful. So that's that one. The next book I had was The Malevolent Seven by Sebastian de Castell. I've never read anything by this author. I have got a few of his YA series books downstairs on my bookcase. Still haven't read those. But yeah, like I'd never read anything by him. I'd heard lots of good things about him as an author. This is an adult high fantasy book. And the thing with me in fantasy, I do like fantasy books, but sometimes there's so much going on, the different worlds, the magic and everything. It kind of goes like over my head. I get a little bit mixed up. I think that's why I prefer YA fantasy, because it's not as intense high fantasy, right? But I saw the cover to this on the Waterstones website, and I loved it. They're all in that row. You can't really see that very well, but it's a really cool cover, and they're basically wizards, and they're supposed to be like this gang of wizards who are all very different, but they're all magical. And like it starts off okay. Like the main wizard, I can't remember his name, but he was like, it's all from his point of view, and it's like you're hearing him talk. And he seemed quite a fun kind of, I don't know, bad boy villain, but you kind of like him kind of character. And I was feeling it for a little while. And then I just started to get just a bit bored with it. I wasn't really liking any of the other characters. The fantasy, as I say, just started to go over my head a little bit. And I was like, oh, I can't continue this. It was quite a big chunky book as well. And I thought, no, I can't. Look, I know some people don't DNF, and that's completely up to you. But for me, I've got so many other books that I need to read, right? So if I'm not fully invested, if I'm not giving that book the love that it deserves, if I'm not enjoying it, then it's a case of move on and go to the next. So I did DNF this book. But yeah, I mean, I skimmed to the end just to see what happens. I think this is a standalone. So if you do like your epic kind of fantasy books, check it out. But I only give it 2 stars because I just wasn't feeling it. I mean, I read the end bit, and I suppose there could be a number 2 without giving any spoilers, or maybe it's just standalone. I don't know. But anyway, the next book I read, also DNF'd actually, which was What Walks These Halls by Amy Clarkin. This book here I managed to get in the library, and I'd wanted to read it for a good few months since like hearing about it. And all I can say is I'm really pleased I didn't buy it. I'm really pleased I got it for free from the library, because boy oh boy, I would have been annoyed if I'd have wasted money on this book. You know, it's supposed to be a real kind of epic, scary ghost story kind of, you know, if you want to be scared, read this book vibe. And I didn't get scared in this book at all. I just found it to be more about this group of young people, like what went on in their lives and their love lives and that, than it did the actual ghost story, which I don't know, like it just, I wanted it to be a ghost story. I wanted it to be scary, but it just wasn't. It's about this group of people who do paranormal, like ghost hunting, which is something I'm really interested in and love reading about and watching. So I did have high hopes for this book, but as I say, it just felt like it was more based on their love lives and their friendship and not particularly scary or about the ghosty stuff. I don't know, maybe it was me, maybe I just didn't get into it or something, but yeah, I just DNF'd that one. Sorry. Oh, I've come off my list. Where was I? Hold on. Right, okay. I read that one. Right. All right, so the next book I read was My Darling Daughter by J.P. Delaney. I give this 3 stars. Yeah, it was all right. It was a good thriller. The child you never knew knows all your secrets. Yeah, I do like J.P. Delaney books. The Girl Before was by far my favourite. I thought that was fantastic. Also, I watched the show of it, which was brilliant as well. But this one, I don't know. I did see a comment on here from someone who had left a review, which I agreed with, that said older J.P. Delaney books were more kind of like these really like psychological thrillers, whereas now the author has gone more kind of like family orientated, like lots of family dramas, family secrets, and I don't mind a bit of that, but I just prefer those more kind of psychological, darker thrillers anyway. But it was all right. It's about this woman, Susie. So it says here, the child you never knew knows all your secrets. Out of the blue, Susie Jones is contacted on social media by Anna, who is the girl that she gave up for adoption 15 years ago. When they meet, Anna's home life sounds distinctively strange to Susie and her husband Gabe. And when Anna's adoptive parents seem to overreact to the fact that she's contacted them at all, Susie becomes convinced that Anna needs her help. But is Anna's own behaviour simply what you'd expect from someone recovering from a traumatic childhood, or are there other secrets at play here? Secrets Susie has been trying to hide for the last 15 years. So I did really like the aspect of this daughter of, you know, she's grown up a bit, now she wants to connect with her, and then there's all these secrets, and you kind of go through the book thinking, is the daughter a goodie, a baddie, or, you know, do you feel sorry for her, do you hate her? I did like that, but as I say, it just felt more kind of family dramas than an actual thriller. But yeah, it was all right. I give it, as I say, 3 stars. It wasn't horrible, it wasn't awful. The next book I read, I really enjoyed this one. This was called The Dead of Winter by Chris Priestley. I'll show you the cover there. I picked that up from the library. It was quite an old book. It came out years ago. Here we go. First published 1st of October 2010. So yeah, it was an old book. I'd never heard of it, never seen it anywhere on socials or anything like that. I literally just went in the library. And I love nothing better than just looking around the library at all the different bookcases and looking at the covers. And sometimes I go looking for a particular book. Other times it's kind of like I'm just drawn to a book cover. And that's what it was for this one. I was literally just drawn to the cover. So this was a creepy... So it's a middle grade, but I would say that you could say middle grade / YA. But yeah, it was scary, it was creepy, and I really enjoyed it. So so yeah, the main character was called Michael. His mum dies and he's kind of left like, you know, an orphan. He's got nobody. His dad had already died, bless him, in the army, so he'd kind of left with no one. And then he gets taken to this really big old like rich man's house. I don't want to go into too much detail about who the man is, but there is a connection to him and his father who died. Anyway, so he takes him in, he becomes his guardian. There's also like creepy ghosty stuff that happens in the house, and it is really, really good. Like, I really enjoyed it. And as I say, I honestly, I know it's a middle grade, but you could put it as a YA, I think, as well. But I give it a 4 star. The only reason I didn't give it a 5 star was I did find it a little bit predictable, but it was still a really good read, and it was only a little quick read as well, so it didn't take me long to get through at all. Right, so the next book I read was In the Blink of an Eye by Joe Callahan. Really cool cover as well. This was really cool. I've never read anything like this before. I mean, it says here, the most original crime novel you'll ever read. Honestly, it was really good. It was really original, really different, about missing people, like, you know, missing persons cases, cold cases, and basically there's a human detective and an AI detective, and they have to work together. Doesn't always work well at the beginning, but you know, that's the fun of this book. You get to see the kind of the rapport between the two. And yeah, I was really, really enjoying this. It was very exciting. It was really interesting. I love that whole AI thing, and he turns into a hologram and stuff. Like, it's really cool. And the detective, who's the woman, like, she's a really likable, nice woman. And yeah, I was loving it until it got to near like the middle / ending. And I'm not going to give any spoilers, but there were references to illness, and this is literally a personal preference. It's just me, maybe, but I don't like reading books or watching shows or films or anything with like medical stuff in. I've got terrible anxiety, and part of my anxiety disorder is issues with medical and stuff. It just triggers me, makes me anxious. So in this book, I was not expecting this kind of medical twist, so I did end up thinking, oh no. I skimmed a few pages of certain medical bits, but overall I really did enjoy it. It was a very, very good story, and I know that I'm judging it purely on my own issues, you know, trigger stuff, but very clever. You know, if it is a series, which I don't think it is, but if it is a series, I would definitely carry on with it. And I love the fact that there's a human, you know, working with AI. They're both detectives. They both use different kind of ways to solve the crimes. Like, really cool. I really enjoyed it, apart from the medical stuff. But yeah, I give that book 4 stars. Which, yeah, I'll probably say a 4.5, but there's no half points on Goodreads. Keep saying that, sorry. Right, next book I read was another book by Chris Priestley, who done the Ghosty book a little while ago. Now, I really enjoyed that one, so I thought I'd see if the library had any of his other books, which they have. I've got another one out at the moment to read as well, called 8 Ghosts, which I will read at some point. But this was called Still Water by Chris Priestley, and I'll show you the cover. The cover's super creepy. Like, I don't know if you can really see it on the screen there, because I'm showing it via the phone, but oh my god, like, it was a really creepy cover with this girl just standing there like that, face down in this like water, and it's all creepy looking. So this is well, this was from 2018, and it says, evacuate from London at the outbreak of war, Rosie is taken in by the very kind Mrs. Taylor and her daughter Mary, but all is not as it seems. Mary resents and bullies Rosie. Mrs. Taylor is hiding a dark secret. When Rosie comes across a strange girl swimming in a local pond, she hopes they'll become friends, but instead her appearance leads to a horrifying revelation that will have terrifying consequences. Once again, I give it a 4 star. Only reason why I didn't give it a 5 was because it was predictable, but I really, honestly, I really enjoyed it. And oh my god, there's a bit at the beginning where the little girl, I can't remember her name now. What's her little girl? The mum is looked after her. Hold on. Oh, Mary, yeah. Mary, she was so horrible. Like, it was like I was reading it getting angry, thinking, you horrible little girl. But yeah, no, really, really good and very creepy, if you like your creepy books. I will say that did feel more middle grade than YA. The other one was a bit of both, but this one did feel a little bit younger audience aimed at. But hey, you can read any book you want, you know, so here's what it is. Right, the next book I read I truly loved, and that was Ravel by Alicia Mia Smith. This book was blooming fantastic. The cover was good. The book was good. Everything about this book was good. Like, I truly love it. I give it a 5 stars. I've literally put here, loved everything about this book, 5 stars. I really did. It was magical. I loved it. So I love books about circuses. This book was about a family who run a circus, but there's so much more to it. There's magic, there's time travel, there's romance, there's family, there's friendship, there's baddies, there's goodies. Like, it's just so much going on, and it was just magical. Like, it was just so good. And I got to the end and I genuinely felt sad that it was the end, because I'd missed the characters. This is a standalone, but I honestly think it could work as a series. I know the author's probably not going to do that, but I think these characters are so awesome in their own way that it could carry on. Maybe she will do it as a series if this one's a success. I don't know, but I love this Ravel, and I gave it 5 stars. So the next book, and I think, yeah, the last book that I read in the month of May, was called This Wild, Wild Country by Inga Vesper. Oh, sorry to be negative in that, but like, I just really, really wanted to enjoy this book. I remember being in Sainsbury's supermarket, going in for some like milk and butter and cheese, ended up with about 3 books that day. You know, it's a bookworm problem. But yeah, I was drawn to this book. I love the cover of it. It's got, I don't know if you can really see it, but it's got this girl, very kind of retro looking cover, standing in front of her old car. She's smoking. You've got the desert behind her. I was like, oh, just looks so cool. It says 3 women, an isolated town, and a decades-old mystery. Now, I read about, I don't know, sorry, I'm really uncomfortable sitting on the floor like this. I read about, I don't know, nearly halfway through, and I just found that at the beginning I really enjoyed it, but I was just getting bored, I think. And also I was predicting, it just felt very predictable what was going to happen. I don't know. I just got really bored. And also none of the characters really stood out. Like, I didn't dislike any of the characters really, but I just didn't really like them either. They were just like, meh. So for me, like with books, I do have to have some connection with the characters, whether it's absolutely hating them, you know, like the pantomime villain, or just loving them and caring about them, like, you know. But there was just nothing. Like, I just got bored. So I did DNF it. I skipped to the last few pages to see what happened and was like, meh. Yeah, I predicted that. So yeah, I'm pleased I didn't waste any more time with it. And yeah, I only give it, I think, like 2 stars. Where is it? Come off the page again, sorry. Yeah, 2 stars. So that was that. Okay, so you're probably thinking, what is the book of the month, Laura? Well, you might be thinking that, you might not be. So it's really hard for me because I loved Reveal with the circus and the magic and all that. But it's got to be Somewhere in the Crowd by Katrina Logan, because I've never read anything like a fiction story based on the Eurovision, which I thought was just so original and so different and unique. And I love the characters. I love the fact they met every year and they all had their own like backstories and current stories, and it all kind of intertwined with each other. The romance was good, everything. And of course it's about the Eurovision, so I love the Eurovision Song Contest. So that is my book of the month. Okay, let me know in the comment section down below what book was your favourite of the month of May, what you read. And let me know what you're currently reading. I love reading your comments, so please do get in touch. All right, so before I go, I'm going to quickly show you this book here. So this is my first book of a new month, and I got this from the library. I was so lucky because it's literally just come out. I was going to buy this, but I always go on my library website, or I go in my library just to see if there's any new books coming in, if there's anything, that's, an interest to me. And I saw this, so I was like, oh my God, I was going to buy that. So how much would this have been? Bleeding out, 20 quid? No, yeah, £19. Yeah, it would have been expensive. So I'm pleased I got it for free. And I'm really enjoying it. It says brutal romance, vicious stakes, and a twisty mystery. So this is a vampire-themed book. So, of course, it's going to be fantastic. Oh, sorry, I'm so cringe. I make myself cringe. But anyway, but I feel like I haven't read a good vampire book for so long. So, that's good. I'm liking it. I'm really getting my teeth into it. Oh, God, I can't stop. Get my fangs into it. But, yeah, this is about a girl called Finn. And actually, it's really sad. I won't ruin it. But when I found out why she's called Finn, I was like, oh. But I instantly like her. I instantly feel connection to her. So, yeah, she's called Finn. And she's a human. But she gets chosen. Well, she offers herself up to be the chosen one. Because every year, a group of vampires come along to these different cities and stuff, and they take a certain amount of young people to kind of train up as vampires, and they go into this like vampire school. There's a picture here of all the different houses and stuff, which I thought was pretty cool. And it also gives an explanation of each house. The Undying Hours. So yeah, sorry, I forgot to say the book name. That'd help. It's called The Cult of Undying Seasons by A.M. Strickland. And look, there are the Undying Houses. So you can see all about them. And yeah, it's really cool. I'm really enjoying it, actually. So yeah, this girl, she gets turned into a vampire. And basically her mum was killed by a vampire. And so she's out for revenge. So they think, oh, we're training her up to be a vampire and stuff. But she's actually there to try and get revenge, try and see the weakness in these vampires, how she can kind of, take them on and ruin them and kill them. And yeah, but I'm honestly really enjoying it. I love the cover as well. The cover is sexy. Look at that. The black and red, and her face just looks like she's out for revenge. Like she's out for blood, literally. I'm so funny today, aren't I? But yeah, so that is my current read, and I'm really enjoying it. And I hope this month will be good. I've got quite a few books on my TBR that I want to read. I've got The Witch King, which I think it's Martha Wells, if I remember rightly. That come in my Illumicrate box, so I want to read that. Also, I've got Yellow Face to read, which, oh my God, everybody is talking about. Like, everywhere I go on social media, it's like Yellow Face, Yellow Face. There must be something about it because everyone's like really hyping it up. So I've got that. to read this month. I've got quite a few library books out at the moment, so I want to read a few of those. And I've got obviously my own books I need to get through that I've purchased. So yeah, lots of books planned. I like mixing and matching up genres, you know, so a bit of horror, then a bit of romance, a bit of thriller, a bit of this, a bit of that. So it's all good. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now because I don't want to bore you to tears. But I hope you've enjoyed watching, and my fellow bookworms, I hope you enjoy reading, and let me know, as I say, what book you're reading and stuff like that. But yeah, if you're on Goodreads, come and follow me on there, and all my social media links as well, as I say, are down below, as the link to my other YouTube channel, which is Minxlaura123 ASMR. On that channel I do videos to, well, sleep inducing, calming, relaxing videos, so check that out. I do have a throne wish list as well, if you care to spoil me or treat me, check it out. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I will be back next month to tell you how I did with these books that I'm going to be reading. And yeah, if you're new here, I do lots of bookish videos. I do book hauls, I do unboxings, like book related unboxings, the monthly reading wrap up I do every month. So yeah, there's lots of bookish content. All right, everyone, take care of yourself. I'll see you soon. Bye.